Good morning. Welcome to day number 2 of our More Than Healed Gut Health Challenge. I will bring Ashley on here in just a second. I gotta wait till she's actually live though. And I'm going to share this into the event. So give me just a second to do that. Hopefully it doesn't start echoing. Here, I could bring you on. All right, so bear with us for just a second as I bring her on and share this event.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep. All right, go ahead
Awesome.
and so this is day 2 of our Gut Health Challenge, and today we're going to be talking all about stress. So I'm going to let you dive in while I share this into our event.
Yep, of course. So, yes, in case you are new here, I am Ashley Olivine. Tiffany DeLuisi was the one just talking. She is a certified gut health specialist and herbalist. I'm certified in sleep, stress, and brain health. So today is kind of my passion project with all the stress stuff. So first, I want to kind of explain that stressful situations do not necessarily equal stress. A lot of people look at someone's life and they say, oh my gosh, you're moving, you're having relationship issues, there's a death in the family, you must be crazy stressed. And yes, those things, stressful life events, are more likely to cause stress, but they don't necessarily have to lead to stress. Someone with very few stressful situations can be far more stressed than someone with a whole lot of big life stresses going on. And so the goal here is to try to reduce stress and keep it down as much as possible, regardless of what else is going on in life. So, if you are the kind of person that is constantly worrying and stressing about every little thing, or if you are going through a lot of life changes, stressful events, it may be more important for you to address stress and keep your stress levels down. But when we talk about stress here, we're talking about the body's response to stress. So you can have all kinds of stressful situations going on, and that may lead to your body reacting to stress, but it is possible to notice those tiny little signs of stress before they escalate out of control and manage that stress and keep it down, down, down at a low level. Or if your stress is already, through the roof, it's possible to lower that even when those stressful situations are still happening in your life. So the big idea here is that we can't necessarily control everything that goes on in life. Stressful situations are going to pop up. That's just what life is all about. Yes, there are things we can do to impact and reduce the chances of different stressful situations happening in our lives, but you can't completely avoid them. But you can control your body's response. So part of it is learning how to control your body's response and then taking those actions to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and your body isn't going crazy with all those stressors.
So I wanted to kind of explain to you the difference between like stress and chronic stress and what your body does. Okay. So stress is made to like keep our bodies safe and to protect us. Okay. So think saber tooth, you go to check your mailbox and a saber-toothed tiger is running to chase you, right? So what do? Your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, increases. And its goal is to get you out of danger. Okay. So usually, like you'll hear women that's like, I could lift the car off my baby when it was trying to come. That is that stress cortisol, like that adrenaline pumping, like, let's get out of danger, right? Same thing happens. And so when that happens, your adrenaline goes up, your heart rate starts beating really, really fast. And the point is, get me out of danger. So your body is no longer digesting food. It's no longer absorbing nutrients. It's no longer doing anything else except getting you out of danger. So once you run into the house and close the door and lock the door, cortisol goes down, your heart rate goes back to normal, you start digesting like normal, okay? That's fine. That kept us out of danger. But chronic stress is like you wake up in that morning and that saber-toothed tiger is by your bed ready to chase you. You're driving your kids to school and it is chasing your car. You're in a meeting at work and it's sitting outside the door waiting for you, right? And when you go to bed at night, it's sitting there waiting to chase you the next morning. It's all day long. So when those kind of things are happening, your cortisol is always risen. You know, your heart rate is kind of high. So when people tell me, my doctor told me I have high blood pressure and I have to go on a diet to fix it, I'm like, no, you don't. You need to reduce your stress levels. You need to figure out how to reduce stress, because what you're eating has nothing to do with your blood pressure. That has to do with stress. And so that's kind of like what's happening, is that we're just not functioning correctly when we're under extreme amounts of stress. And so you might be thinking, why is there a connection between stress and your gut? And I kind of explained this a little bit, but I tell people, like, if you have symptoms of anxiety, depression, high stress, like, those can be connected to your gut, because there is a very clear connection between your gut and your brain.
So basically what Tiffany is saying here is that stress in a danger situation is a good thing. Your body was designed to protect yourself. The problem is when that stressful situation or that immediate danger goes away. So maybe that tiger goes back wherever it lives and it's hiding somewhere, but you're not in immediate danger. Your stress level needs to go down. So you can't be constantly up here. Your body will go crazy and start reacting in all kinds of different ways. And she was talking about that saber-toothed tiger sitting next to the bed at night. If you don't take care of your stress level before you go to bed, your brain is going to be on alert all night long. You are not going to get good sleep. That could be why it's hard to fall asleep. That could be why you're unable to stay asleep. If any of this applies to you, not everyone has this problem, obviously, but if you're waking up in the middle of the night and having trouble returning to sleep, it's probably because that stress level was high before you went to bed and it never decreased down to a safe level. So, Tiffany talked about the gut-brain connection a little bit, and that's another thing, you hear people talk about, I am nervous, I'm feeling it in my stomach, I'm upset, I feel like I'm going to throw up. Maybe when you get really, really bad news, you feel like you're going to throw up. That's because the gut and the brain are sending messages to one another all day long, all night long. So if you are struggling with any of these areas, it's important to address both gut health and brain health. And, people have that negative stigma about mental health. Oh, if I have too much stress or if I'm working on my mental health, it means I'm crazy. That couldn't be further from the truth, because every single person has mental health. If you are alive, you have a brain, you have the ability to think, you are a human, you have mental health. The word mental comes from the word mind. So it's just like any other part of your body. Just because you work out and you go to the gym doesn't mean you have a problem with anything in your body. You need to take care of your brain and your body, because you have a brain and a body. So we're going to talk about 6 different ways to reduce stress. If you find yourself stressed, and even if you don't find yourself stressed, because something that's really common in our society is this chronic stress that Tiffany talked about, that everyone walks around all day long with a somewhat elevated level of stress. And we look at our neighbors and we're like, well, they're way more stressed than I am, so I know I'm not stressed. But this is an epidemic, and just because our neighbors are more stressed than we are doesn't mean we can't work on our level of stress, because our culture has become used to being so stressed that we don't understand what it's like to feel the opposite of stress, which is
And
deeply
sometimes I
relaxed.
feel like it can become a competition, like, well, I'm far more stressed than you are, so
So my life is harder and I'm more of a
my life
champion
is
because I am
harder.
powering
I
through all
win,
this
more
stress.
stressed.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I am such a beast. I am so good at life because I am so stressed and still functioning. But guys, you can be a champion and be relaxed and enjoy life and still accomplish things. This isn't about getting everything off your plate and not accomplishing everything. This is about reducing your level of stress so you can be the best you can be. And when you go to accomplish all the things, you're doing a good job because you're able to focus and be productive and do them to the best of your ability. So you'd be surprised at how reducing that level of stress can really make it a lot easier to get further and do more. It's not about doing less, it's about doing it more productively and without all this struggle. So anyway, we don't want to go on forever. I know everybody has other things to do. We're trying to keep it short. Even though I could talk about this all day, we have 6 tips on how to reduce stress. The first one is meditation. And you may have tried meditation and think, hey, it doesn't work for me. I can't do it. It's too hard. I can't sit still. There are all different forms of meditation. And I use a technique that is, it's not exactly meditation. It's similar. It feels kind of meditation-y, but it's more brain exercises. And we use the term meditation a lot because it's easier for people to understand because that's becoming more popular. But don't try one and say it doesn't work for me. It's all over. I don't like meditation. Just keep trying different things, different techniques until you find something that does work for you. And don't put all this pressure on yourself that I have to sit still and have my mind silent for 30 minutes twice a day. Start small. Just sit there for a minute, for 30 seconds, and then build your way up. Once your body and your mind get used to it, it becomes easier and you'll be able to do more with it. So if you need tips on how to get started, you're welcome to reach out to me. I would love to help you find a technique that works for you.
All right, so the next one is breathing, and you might think I breathe all day long. So I am somebody that like can really struggle with high anxiety. I mean, like high anxiety, have panic and anxiety attacks. And so I have learned that breathing can really help calm things down. So I'm going to share with you a couple of different like breathing techniques that you could just do throughout the day. You can do it while you're sitting in your car in traffic. You can do it while you're at your desk at work. These are things that you could just do. And it's kind of like a habit. You don't have to do it like, oh, I'm stressed now, do it. It could just be a habit for you to try it a few times a day. So the first one is a kind of breathing where you breathe in through your mouth for 4 seconds. You hold it for 3 and you breathe in through your nose 4 seconds. You hold it for like 3 seconds and then you breathe out through your mouth through 7. So it's and you do that 3 or 4 times in a row. And it gradually just starts to reduce the cortisol in your body and just normally just starts to relax you. Okay. So sometimes when I'm already in like really big anxiety phase, I start to do some of that. Sometimes it's really hard for me to just do that kind of breathing. And so what I start to do, and it is a breathing exercise, but as I'm trying to calm down and breathe, I start with like 5. Okay. So 5 things I can see, 5 things I can hear, 5 things I can feel. Like in my environment. Okay. So I might just be saying, okay, like I just heard my kid go use the bathroom, right? Like that's one thing I hear. And then I see my lamp, I see my phone, and then I go down to 4. I take 3 deep breaths because to try to slow that breath down. And then I go to 4 things I can see, 4 things I can touch, 4 things I can hear. Okay. And then 3, 2, 1. And when I do that, that really starts to like calm my brain and calm my body and relax. So one thing we kind of forget to do when we're under a lot of stress, whether you believe it or not, you hold your breath. And so you don't usually realize that you're holding your breath. And so just being able to take some time throughout the day to just practice your breathing and really get a lot of oxygen into your lungs will really help reduce stress.
So she's talking about some things to engage different senses and to really stay grounded. So if you're having too much trouble meditating, start with some of those exercises that Tiffany just introduced, and then try meditating after you've reduced that stress a little bit more. It may add to your stress to think about meditating before you can do a couple breathing techniques. So Tiffany provided some great resources there, techniques to try. And so if meditating's too much, definitely start with those or do those anyway, but you don't have to jump right into something that sounds big and scary like meditating. The next one, maybe even easier, is to take hot baths. This relaxes the muscles, gets you all floppy. It's really beneficial. And you can try the breathing exercises in the bath if you want to, have a relaxing environment. Sometimes that makes it easier. And it's also good to take a bath before bed because when you sleep, your body cools, your body temperature lowers. So if you're in the bath and you're feeling warm and you get out of the bath, your body temperature starts to drop because you're wet and the air is cold, and that can help to ease you into sleep. So first of all, it's relaxing, and second, you've got the body temperature thing going on. So if you're having trouble sleeping, that's a good one to do right before bed.
And I love to add essential oils to my bath and some Epsom salt. And just a little bit of a tip about that. Take your Epsom salt, add your oils to the salt, and then put it in the bath. If you just drop the oils in the bath, it's just going to float on top. But when you do it with the salt, it starts to dissolve in. So there's a lot of oils that kind of can help with calming and relaxation as well. Our next tip is yoga. So my first year teaching was way more stressful than I thought it was going to be. And I had a friend that's like, come to yoga with me. And the first time I was like, this is weird. Why would I do this? I mean, you got to keep in mind, it was like 22, 23. Never really heard of yoga before, believe it or not. That was a long time ago. And I started going to these classes with her. And it became like one of these things that twice a week I really looked forward to that because it really helped calm my stress and calm my nerves and calm me down. But yoga really, any yogis out there that love yoga, because I still do, it really helps like calm your body and stress your body and help you focus on other things that has a very calming effect on the body that can help reduce stress.
And
And
if
it
you're
doesn't
sitting,
have to be like an hour-long class. It doesn't have to be hot yoga. It can even be 15 minutes in your living room.
yeah. And if you're sitting here thinking, I'm not flexible, I could never do yoga, that just means you need it even more because yoga is how you get more flexible. You
Yeah.
stretch. And so if you want to work on your flexibility, it's kind of two birds, one stone. So the next one is to call a friend, and be careful with how you call a friend. Sometimes you need a vent sesh, and that is totally fine to call a friend and just let it all out. But you don't want this to turn into chronic complaining and negativity where you're constantly calling your friends, talking about everything that's going wrong, and never doing anything about it. So before you hang up the phone with that friend, you need to turn that venting into something productive. You need to say, okay, I got it off my chest. I'm feeling a little better. Now, what am I going to do about it? What kind of action steps can I take to improve this situation? What can I do to make myself feel better? Where do I have control? Where do I not have control? Things like that to make it productive. And two big benefits for this. One, your friend isn't going to feel like you're always calling them to complain and you're just that negative energy, because if you're constantly calling the same friend to complain over and over and over, they're eventually not going to want to talk to you because you're just draining, and nobody can handle that kind of negative energy all the time. If you turn it into something productive at the end of how am I going to move on from this, then you have your plan, you have your action steps. Even if it's just one action step, even if at the end of the call you're just like, okay, got it off my chest, I'm going to go take a bath and I'm going to text you after the bath, or whatever you need to do. And that way you are moving through it instead of just dwelling in it. So there's nothing wrong with venting, nothing wrong with complaining, as long as you turn it around. That's the key.
And our last tip for you today is to laugh. Have you ever heard laughter is the best medicine? Well, it really is. It really kind of helps us release stress and just feel happy, actually. So you can go watch one of your favorite shows. I mean, you can even go to YouTube now and watch something funny. If you need me to take videos of my children, they do hilarious things all the freaking time. But just to get that laughter and get laughing can really help you settle and calm your stress. So your challenge for today is to try one of these things. Just pick one and try one of these things. If you have like another way you want to relieve stress, you could do that too. Let us know. But do one of those things today. So just pick one, go with it, try it. It becomes a habit. So just like when you start doing things, the more often you do it, the more it just becomes a habit. And so we want you to pick one, try it, let us know what you pick and what your experience is with it. And we will be back tomorrow for day 3 of our Gut Health Challenge, where we're going to talk about mindful eating and the way you eat and how that affects your digestion. So if you have any questions, let us know, and we will see you tomorrow.
So prize entry, drop it down below, what you are doing to de-stress today and how it goes. And if you have not yet taken that gut health quiz, make sure to go back and take that quiz because that is important moving forward with this gut health challenge. So you can still get those prize entry points if you want to go back to yesterday and do the gut health quiz and comment in there to let us know that you did it, plus the points for today of doing something to de-stress.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.